ZK ERP is a complete ERP solution, including accounting, purchase, sales, inventory management, manufacturing, and all other necessary functions required for a business organization. ZK ERP can enter and view information in both English and Arabic. Important functions associated with the accounting module are general ledger, receivables and payable, profit center or cost center, fixed assets, reconciliation of bank accounts or any other accounts, and necessary reports associated with all accounting functions. Accounts of an organization is normally entered for various financial years, which is split into multiple financial periods. The normal practice in Saudi Arabia is using Gregorian calendar as the financial year, and the calendar months are defined as the accounting periods. But ZK ERP also provide facility to define a different accounting year, just like the Hijri calendar, an accounting period is Hijri month. So, you can define a year and period the way you want to use it. Normally the accounting entries are made for every transactions by way of a journal voucher by selecting a ledger account, entering debit or credit amounts, so that the total of the debit entries will be equal to the total of the credit entry for a specific journal voucher. Naturally, this entry is entered for a specific date. Coming back to the ledger accounts, they are normally classified into two major categories, that is balance sheet items and profit and loss statement items. The balance sheet items are carried forward from year to year, but the profit and loss items are computed for a financial year and adjusted against equity every year. Balance sheet items are further classified into assets, liabilities, and equity. The total of assets should be equal to that total of the liability and equity together. Again, the profit and loss accounts are further classified into revenue, cost of revenue, and expense. Revenue minus cost of revenue is considered as gross profit. Reducing expenses from the gross profit is the net profit. To facilitate proper classification of accounts in an accounting system, ERP define account groups, so that the accounts can be created under a specific group. This will help to provide a proper financial statement direct from the system. ERP do not put much restrictions for defining the ledger accounts. The accounts codes can be up to 10 characters. There is no predefined rules how the account codes need to be defined. The same way for the description also. When you are entering a transaction, the accounts can be searched either by way of code or description. Since accounts can be selected by way of description or any part of the description, it doesn't matter much how you code the accounts to organize the accounting system. Profit or cost centers are a normal practice in the accounting to identify the profitability or expenses related to a specific department or a business unit. This will facilitate to take reports, like profit and loss statement based on such profit or cost centers for a specific period of time. Accounting entries are normally made by journal vouchers. For every journal voucher, there should be a minimum of 1 debit entry and 1 credit entry. But there can be multiple debit entries or multiple credit entries. But before posting or finalizing a transaction, the total of the debit entries should be equal to the total of the credit entries. A JV can be modified until the JV is finalized or posted. But once it is posted, the only way for correction is to make a reverse entry for the JV or make a correction entry related to that JV. Please note that almost 90% or more of the transactions in business organizations are automatically generated from other modules like purchase, sales, inventory management, fixed assets, etc. When a transaction is entered on those modules, a finance transaction entry will be generated automatically from those modules and updated the general ledger. To identify the source of transactions that is updated in the general ledger, the transactions in the general ledger are classified into different day books. For entering a journal voucher transaction, you can select the menu option for Journal Voucher from Finance as shown in the previous slide. For entering a journal voucher, the date needs to be selected, then select the ledger account for which the transaction needs to be entered. The account can be selected either by searching by account code or any part of description of the account. Then you can select the record cost center, and based on your requirement, you can enter a proper description or narration for the transaction. Then the debit or credit amount related to that particular transaction can be entered. As mentioned earlier, it is possible to enter multiple debit and multiple credit entries for one journal voucher. But before posting, the total of the debit should be equal to the total of the credit. That total of the debit and credit amounts, until the last transaction entered, can see at the bottom of the screen, so that you can post the transaction only when the total debit amount is equal to the total credit amount. Once you completed the transactions, either you can print a journal from the print option shown on the top of the screen by selecting any one of the options like print on the letterhead, print without letter, etc. It is also able to post a journal voucher from the selections available in the Actions combo available at the top of the screen. In the Actions combo, there are different options are given, including the delete option, so that you can delete the entire journal voucher if there is something wrong in that journal voucher. The posting options available are post the transaction and continue with a new JV, or you can post the transaction and print the journal voucher. You have to click on the Go button on the right side of the Action button to execute the selection you made. A JV can be printed from the Print Combo option available at the top of the JV transaction screen. JV transaction screen can be reached from the Journal Voucher options in the Finance menu. On selecting the Journal Voucher menu option, to add a new JV you can click the Add New button, or viewing a posted transaction, you can select the View button available on the right side on each JV, or edit a transaction by clicking the Edit button against a JV. Multiple JVs can be printed from the Report, Finance, Journal Voucher menu option, and select Start and End Date. On Generate Report from that screen, the journal vouchers are listed, which can be exported to Excel or PDF or printed. There are many reports available in the Reports, Finance menu option, which include Ledger Account Statement. General Ledger Account Statement can be printed by providing a specific date range within a financial year. The generated statement can be printed or exported to Excel or PDF. Suppliers and customers are not directly part of the general ledger. They are subsidiary ledgers with control account in the general ledger. For printing the customer or supplier statement, select the option for customer or supplier statement from Reports, Finance menu option. On listing the supplier or customer statement, using the hyperlink against any transaction, the general ledger transaction associated with that is available. Trial balance also can be printed from the Reports, Finance, Trial Balance menu option. To print the trial balance, select a date range within a financial year. In the trial balance statement, the opening balance will show the balance of each ledger account on the starting date, and the closing balance will show the transactions balances of each ledger account at the end date. The transactions, during the selected period, between the start date and end date will show separately by way of debit and credit, between the two balances. Profit and loss statement is also available in the Reports, Finance, Profit and Loss Statement menu option. Just like the trial balance, the opening and closing dates are selected to generate the profit and loss statement. On generating the report, you will get the profit and loss for the selected period. Just like trial balance, a hyperlink is available, related to every ledger account in the profit and loss statement, which can generate the ledger statement for the selected period. And from the ledger statement, the journal voucher associated with that can be displayed. The date selection for the profit and loss statement will facilitate the printing of profit and loss for any specific month or quarter or half year. Just like any other reports, profit and loss statement can also be exported to Excel, PDF, or can be printed in a printer. Balance sheet is on any specific date can also be printed for any selected financial year from the Report, Finance, Balance Sheet menu option. The balance sheet is prepared from the beginning of the financial year, up to any selected date within that financial year. Just like ledger statement, trial balance or profit and loss statement, balance sheet also provide hyperlink to get the ledger statement on a specific selected ledger account. On selecting the hyperlink for a transaction, you can print the journal voucher associated with that. Another important report that is available in that Reports, Finance menu option is the cash flow statement. On selecting cash flow menu option for a specific date range, it will prepare a cash flow statement.